Hello everyone, my name is Mike and welcome to the Cerulean Forest. This is a world that I created for artists to basically work out, get better, hone their craft, get those 10,000 bad drawings out of their system, make some beautiful art and collaborate and get better. So all the works you see behind me were made in this world with the prefab for painting. We also have graffiti and events every week. Now, you might have played some games in VR specifically about painting or creating VR. There's King Spray, right? You got Vermilion for painting, Painting VR, the list goes on. But they're all specifically geared toward art and they're fun, but what they're really missing is that community. And I personally felt like I hadn't found that community since I left art school, and I wanted to make another. So that's what I've done. Cerulean Forest, this place, is a community of artists all coming together to make art within VRChat. And you might not think that there are artists in VRChat, but there are. There's communities and there's whole systems set up for them. So if you're an artist and you've been looking for a community, consider trying out VRChat. The game's free, you can download it from Steam. Come play. You know, and maybe you start submitting work, you like it, it gets up in the gallery, and you can show your friends, hey, I'm up in a gallery. You know, same thing with over in the forest here. There's slots available where you can buy a slot. So even let's say you don't want to put in the work of coming and making art all the time, you don't want to come by too often, you can just pay for a slot and get your work up instantly. Choice is yours. That's from the Ko-Fi, or Ko-Fi Coffee, I don't know, it's linked below. And you can purchase gallery slots from there and I'll put your work up. It's that simple. To get up here, you have to just make good work and stick around. But now we'll move on to showing you how to use the world if you do decide to join. So let's say you want a graffiti. We can start with that. So let me bring this over here. There we go. So there's a little nozzle right here at the tip, the orange tip there. You're gonna want to point that at the top of your offhand. And you're going to use the trigger to change the color. And it's a color wheel very similar to what you get in like Photoshop, where you can change not only the color, but the brightness. So you can really get a lot of variation. And then you can also get some cool fades going by changing the transparency, which is on the far right. If you can see, there's also a little, where am I showing this? Right here. There's a little outline of a box here. That's how to save colors. So if you pick a red here and you want to spray that down and then you accidentally go to a different color, you mess it up, you can always just go back to that red and then it's saved. So you can kind of work with a composition. Unfortunately, there is no color picking, but to be honest, I think this system of color selection is superior to what we have for painting. So the other thing to keep in mind maybe is to the distance that you are from the canvas is how big your brush is. That's your only control over size. So if you want it small, you get really close. If you want it big, back away. That's it. Every Saturday, we basically fill this whole wall with art. So people will start in different sections along the wall, work for a little bit, and it's kind of like the add-on painting. So after 7 minutes, everyone moves to the left, and then by the end, I have everyone combine all their works. So it kind of becomes like a one unified piece, one big mural, and it's really fun. You can see everyone's styles, and we like to talk about like the piece after we're done, and like, oh, why'd you add that? And oh, now I worked the space all the way over here, and there's, yeah, it's fun. So that's on Saturdays. That's the art games, and we don't only use graffiti though. We also use painting. So I'll show you that. This is the painting prefab in this world. It's by Infutu. It's really nice actually. It's one of my favorite tools for making art. I've recently started using the graffiti more, but this is my bread and butter. I really love the painting system in this game. So what you're gonna want to do, hold the trigger to pull up this menu. To paint, you simply hold the grip and touch the canvas. Now you may have noticed I reached up here first. There's a little UI that you can't see. You also have to turn the canvas on like it's a screen before you can use it. But then if you wanted to do like a monochromatic piece, you do not need to change your colors at all. You never need to open the menu. You could just swipe right here, and as you know, value is much more important than color anyway, so you can get a very successful and fun composition just from only using black. But let's say you want to add some color, you want to glaze in some color. You hold that trigger again, and now anything this tip touches, it will turn that color. I'll show you. I'll touch to my hand. I now have the color for my hand, and I can use that for skin color here. But let's say, okay, well that's a nose, but I want it to be a little redder. So I'll hold the trigger again. I'll pick up some red from the bottom right on the palette there, turn down the alpha, which is your opacity, and then I'll maybe turn on wet mode. Now the difference between wet mode and dry brush is basically in dry, as you've seen, there's little texturing and almost holes and static but it's also very dark. If you use wet, it's a little bit more blending, and so you see it's kind of fills more and doesn't have as much of that texture. Now you can see there's still some texturing like right there, but it's much more blurry, which also tends to push things back in space. So you have to be a little careful with how often you're using wet, because if you use all wet, everything's going to recede back. It doesn't really pop things forward. But another thing to keep in mind, if you want to change the size of your brush, like a lot of times I'll start with a wash, that's over to the right. You can drag that red tip all the way to the bottom of the flat, and then pick a color, and you can use that for your background wash, or whatever you want. But it's a good way to fill in a lot of color all at once. It's with this flat brush, and you can just really lay it on thick. So let's see, is there anything else you want to learn about this brush? These are basically to control all the colors at the bottom. If you're not too experienced, I would just end up leaving these all the way at the bottom, sticking the colors like you have. But that doesn't mean you're limited to this canvas. You can also, I'll bring back the round brush. Anything this tip touches, you take the color. So I showed you on my hand earlier. That goes for the ground, right? Like I could steal the color of the grass and get that in there, or I could steal from this log over here, right? I could steal from anywhere in the world, and I can use those colors in my compositions. So even if I wanted to steal from on that wall, any of those I can also take, which is really nice. All the colors in there. So if someone took a while finding and mixing a color perfectly, well, you can steal it, and you should. Okay, now let's see, like that, and then we'll go like this. Perfect. Okay, so to join, it's pretty simple. All you gotta do, download the game, search for Cerulean Forest within VRChat, and you can find the world. Now, once you're in the world, you can join the group, which is right here, and then also the Discord, which is linked here. I'll also link them below, so you can go ahead and join up and see the art, make some art, get your work up if you'd like. There's also some other great art communities that I can show you, and I will link within the Discord to all the other art communities within VRChat. Strange Pair is one of them, the largest art community that I found actually. It has a very successful gallery that changes monthly with live music and just really, really good times and great art that you can go check out for yourself. Same thing goes for Art Bar. Art Bar is an amazing group and also has its own world and gallery, and you can check out the art there, put your work up. That's still starting out, so it's a good place to get in. And even Life Drawing, great world for artistically working out. Just like anything, the more you work at it, the more you get your 10,000 hours or 10,000 bad paintings, however you want to call it, get that experience in without wasting materials or supplies or making a mess, having to clean up, commute, any of that. You just put the headset on and then come paint, come create. And I just want more artists to be playing VRChat because the majority of the player base just doesn't care about art. And I just want more artists to try it out. So give it a try, download it, come try to make some art collaboratively, and you might be surprised. It'll be worth your time. Anyway, my name is Mike. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.